Hi, this is Candy. I am doing an all-day thrift trip and I want you to come along. I'll put all the addresses down in the description box. I am starting in Georgetown, South Carolina, which is about an hour and a half outside of Myrtle Beach, and then I'll work my way back. Starting out at Martha's house. This place has an amazing mission and I can't wait to see what they have. This china set was so lovely. I tend to be a little bit partial to things with fruit on it, and I thought $25 for all the pieces was a great price. I also can always find a use for a jar. I do mystery jewelry jars in my vendor booth, and they sell out pretty quick, so I did end up grabbing that one. This was a beautiful platter. Anything that even similarly looks like or resembles Mackenzie Childs does really well for me, and I like the checker pattern on this one. I don't think the price was $35. I think it was on the front. It was $15, but the comps on it were about $24, so I ended up just leaving that behind because there wasn't a lot of wiggle room there. I thought this egg was really pretty, definitely handmade. I like the colors on it, kind of natural and organic, and it was $10. I'm trying to go ahead and put away a stash of Easter and spring items for next year, so I probably should have grabbed that. I did buy this little teddy bear brass trivet. It was only $1, so cute, and I really love this color of turquoise. I'm going to put a video here of how I styled it in my vendor booth. I also thought these two wall plaques were really pretty. The lighthouse one was especially nice, especially being in Myrtle Beach. I sell tropical and beach-themed items pretty well. I couldn't resist this little bulldog frame. I'm not a bulldog fan myself. I'm from Florida, so I'm definitely a gator, but I thought this was too cute. I also like these little candle holders. They were only $3 each. I thought those were really precious. And then I saw that beautiful bouquet of flowers in the back. I couldn't tell if all of the flower petals were intact, but it was an extravagant piece. And then I have sold these glass fish in my booth before. They only wanted $1 a piece for them, which I thought was an excellent deal. Don't these little trinket boxes look like something that should be served at a tea party? Look how cute they are. They were also only $1 a piece, little roses and flowers intact. These mixing bowls caught my eye. They were made in the USA by Halls. This originated out of Ohio. Here's some comps on those. Definitely a great set. I just don't need those. I ended up buying these because I love any kind of metal or mixed metal pieces, and I love coins, and I just thought those were really unique and interesting. So let's head to checkout. I got quite a few nice buys here, a cute little haul with very good prices. Awesome. The next stop is going to be the Georgetown Goodwill. I've only been to this location twice, but they do tend to have more antique and vintage items I have found here, so I was pretty excited to stop in. I didn't see any new carts being put out, so it was just what was ever on the shelves. That was not brass. It had me fooled at first. This little trinket was only $1, and I do mystery boxes, and I also do a lot of giveaways on my thrift crawls, and I love giving away like small little trinkety, kitschy items like that. This was an original artwork painting on a canvas, signed there on the back from 2021. Only $1.99. I kind of like these turquoise colors, so I'm going to add that to the cart too. I'm obviously going to spot anything that is metal. I'm very drawn to metal and copper and stainless steel and pewter and brass. This was only $1, and I just thought it was just so interesting. I'll have to do some research on it. It had an inscription there on the back. I'll put some comps of what I was able to quickly find. This was a vintage piece from the 70s, so I was happy to add that one to the cart. I found a glass tulip here. I've heard that you can't find these overseas, but that a lot of people love them. They're just so perfect to change up the look of any candle holder or candlestick. This was a brass piece, but it had seen better days. It had a lot of dents, and it was just kind of on the flimsy side, like not a nice heavy piece, and they wanted $4.99 for it. Look at that big dent on the side. So I ended up putting this one back and hoping for some better finds here. Today I am mostly on the hunt for items to go in my second vendor booth that I'm opening. It's going to be called Styled by Candy Thrifts. I've done some short videos on it on YouTube, but this is a longer video of where I source some of these items. I really like these two buildings, especially this one that's in my hand. It was $1.99. I looked at some comps on it. It was a vintage piece. Here it is styled in my new booths with some other items. I haven't quite got my booth the way I want it yet. It has a little ways to go, but it's coming along. At the end of the video, I'll show you what it looks like, and you can see the inside more. That was a pretty little dish there. with the bookies on it. Anyway, so I still have my Candy Thrifts booth where all my good deals and everything will still kind of be coordinated and go together, but my styling booth is where I want to do styling videos and have like little vignettes of items that I've put together, so you can come in and maybe source like 3 or 4 items that kind of coordinate and go together. Still everything secondhand and repurposed and upcycled. That's definitely my jam. I have found this Avon piece before, but that one was a little bit in rough shape, definitely look older, maybe a little dirty. I thought these pieces were pretty. You could upcycle those to like tissue boxes, or you could use them to hold your utensils in your kitchen. I don't think these vases were anything special. They may have come from a wedding or some kind of ceremony. They were $4.99 each. And later on, I find one that's red that I'm thrilled about. This little spoiler alert. I definitely know that this lamp is old. Look at the plug on that. They wanted $4.99 for it. Not a bad price. Definitely needed a good cleaning. The comps on it weren't as much as I thought they would be, but definitely a cute piece. Look at the buttons on the inside of this lamp. I almost wanted to buy this. I was just so drawn to all the buttons, and I like how it was like a corked container that someone had made into a lamp. Like, how cool is that? This is an older tin. I debated about getting this because sometimes I like things that are rusty and crusty that give like a shabby chic type of look. This was only $1. You could put this up on an easel and use it like as a backdrop for other pieces, but maybe it had seen better days, so we'll just keep on looking. I spotted some white cups that I thought had a beautiful shape to them. Look at the handle on that. That is so beautiful. The comps on these were really good. I love how elegant and simple they are. I didn't find the saucers, so I didn't end up getting those, but those would have been pretty even like on one of those trees in a coffee bar to just hold the cups themselves. I have never come across this pattern in green. I put a picture there of how I styled it in my booth, but I thought that was a really pretty piece. This pheasant wood handmade piece was nice. I like that it had the metal on the sides. Quite interesting. Definitely probably needed a little touch-up job. I'm gonna leave that for someone else to find. Here's just a metal piece. Maybe it was originally a frame. Yeah, it looks like it. And a little brass dish for $1.99. I have quite a few of those, so I don't need that one. This is pretty. I think this was for maybe an edible arrangement. Had a little chip there on the side, so we won't recycle or upcycle that one. I'll leave that for someone else too. This was a really pretty platter. I had to turn it right side up, but it's like a basket with fruits in it. These remind me of the 70s. I like the colors on this, kind of a muted, like fall color palette. It was $4.99. And there's the Hallmark on the back. That'd be pretty up on an easel too. These ducks were definitely vintage and needed a good cleaning. They were only $1 a piece, but I'm gonna leave those for someone else. That was a cute one too. That was a piggy bank. Usually I love this color of glass, like all the different colors kind of has like an iridescent rainbow effect to it. I thought they were priced a little bit high. This one was $9.99. So I'm gonna leave that one. There was also a plate next to it that was the same price. Then I really like this spread box, but it was only $2.99. But I think what happened, as you'll soon see, is I got it open. It was a little bit difficult to get it open, and then I could not for the life of me get it closed. I even put my phone down and tried to use both hands to get it back, and it was just stuck. So hopefully someone will be able to get that and refurbish it so it could open and close, but not for me. This piece was really pretty too, but it was flash painted, so all of that painting will eventually come off and just be a glass piece. I liked that bottle too, like the citrine color on it was really pretty. $4.99 for this. So here is my cart so far. I'm pretty happy with all the finds that I have come across today, but up towards the counter, they had some more like vintage, unique items that they had towards the checkout. I have had this picture before. They wanted $19.99 for it, and that's how much I had it priced in my booth at the time that I had it. I thought this piece was really pretty. It was like a little wall pocket, $4.99 for that. This was a beautiful dish, especially for the fall. These were both Lennox, $3.33 on those. I did end up getting both of these candle holders, and they cleaned up so nicely. Here they are here, styled in my vendor booth. That was a pretty bud vase as well for $4.99. And then I spotted in the back that red vase, and I got so excited. It is so beautiful. I have one similar to it that is blue, and I might end up keeping the red one for myself, but it was $9.99, which I didn't think was a bad price. Look how beautiful it is. I do have it in my vendor booth right now, styled here, but I might keep that for myself. Since I was in Georgetown, I decided to stop by an antique shop. Georgetown is kind of known for their antiques, so let's go in and take a look. There were definitely some beautiful collections here, lots of color glass. Look at all the green uranium glass. Then I spotted this vase, which I thought was really interesting because I have the same one that I bought. Actually, my mother-in-law bought it for me in Indiana. $495 they have it priced in this store. I have it in my vendor booth right now for only 20 bucks. Wow. They did have a 50% off area, and there were a lot of nice finds. Like, look at this beautiful piece. I love the cork on that. I thought these were pretty too, and it would have been half off for the set. I think what happens is I get spoiled by going to thrift stores first, and then when I go into an antique store, like, I can't justify the prices, even though I'm sure that these items are well worth the price that they have on them. I thought this was a really pretty napkin holder or letter holder. I liked this plate that was propped up here. It was hand painted, Bavarian china, $20, a really beautiful piece. They just had the one. There were some Lenox ornaments. Okay, so here we are headed out of Georgetown. We're gonna head back towards Myrtle Beach, and I'm gonna go over the bridge. It was definitely a gloomy day, but the sun was starting to break through the clouds, which I was excited about. So as we go back into Myrtle Beach, you drive through Polly's Island and Merle's Inlet, which has a lot of the shops that I've shown you before. One of which is called Rescue Paws Treasure. Rescue Treasure. Four Paws Rescue Treasure. There we go. So let's go in and take a look at it. Look at these cute little cookie jars. I love the Mickey one. They weren't necessarily highly collectible like I thought they would be, but I just like them. I need to do my video series of all the ways that I use cookie jars in my home because I think they're very versatile. These were really pretty. They looked like oyster shells, and they were only $6 a piece. This store is really lovely, and they give back to homeless pets and pets in need, so a great cause here too. I like this pumpkin teapot for $8. We're definitely in full-blown pumpkin season already, and it's not even October. I like that pumpkin too. It was like a metal. I have one of these, and I put wine corks in it, and I think it looks really fall. And look there in the back. Do you see that beautiful strawberry cake? They had it priced at $24, but well worth it. That was such a stunner. I just don't have the room for it. This was really cute. If you had it for taco night, that was $10. That was a really cute salt and pepper set. I sell salt and pepper sets really well. I usually have them priced at $5 or below, or I give them in my mystery boxes. I do $5 mystery boxes, and they usually have 5 or 6 items in them. So I think that they're a great deal, and I think that's why mine are so popular, is because people know that I pack them full of good stuff. I have one of those jars. I have used one as a mystery jewelry jar too. That's the other thing I like about doing the mystery jewelry jars, is I try to give a nice jar too that you can repurpose, a nice apothecary jar, or a jar like that turquoise one. That was a pretty pie dish there. I did end up buying this cake stand, and I put a plate on top of it to give it some height in my vendor booth. There was a whole Christmas room, which definitely got me in the spirit for Christmas. I thought these mugs were so cute. I really just wanted the Santa Claus one, but they had them priced as a set, so I didn't break up the set. I think these are salt cellars. I'm not sure, or are they inkwells? I'm not sure, but those are really cool. I'm always drawn to like tiny things. This is a really pretty piece of pottery, and I like the terracotta look of that one. This was such a beautiful basket. I even like the little cat on it. I'm highly allergic to cats, but for some reason I'm always drawn to cat items. Like as I rounded the corner here on the table, there was this interesting cat, and I almost bought it, and I don't know why. Maybe because of like Halloween or something, but it was pretty cool. It was signed by the artist here. I don't know, is it just me or is that cool? Okay, let's go to the Murrells Inlet Goodwill. This one is usually not very good for me, I will say, but my luck has been changing. So let's go in and see how my luck is today and see what we can find. I should say that I don't find a lot of home decor items here, but the clothes I always do really well at this Goodwill. They always have some name brands and just well-organized store. I thought these boxes were just decorative. Ended up they had candles inside of them that were already, I wanted to see if they were used. They weren't used, but they were kind of melted. So leave those behind. I thought this was a cute little napkin holder, or you could use it to hold a cutting board on the counter. I always love handmade wood items. This is only $1.99. It reminds me of when my husband, he had all of these wood projects that he did in school, but I don't think that they do that anymore, like wood burning classes in school. Probably way too dangerous. But he has a lot of his projects, and his were really impressive for 7th or 8th grade when he did them. My dad was a jeweler, and he did lost wax casting for his fine jewelry pieces, which he learned in a 5th grade art class, which is just amazing to me. He learned his trade at an art class in school, and obviously teachers aren't able to do that nowadays, but I just always thought that was amazing that his 5th grade teacher poured into him and he lived his life making jewelry and loved it. I still wear a lot of his pieces. You might see them from time to time in my videos. Okay, so we're gonna grab a jewelry jar here. I really like this one. I like the lid of it. And I thought these were really pretty. I think that you just stick these in a plant and they're purely just decorative, but sometimes you just need something that's just pretty because it's just pretty. It has no other use than just to sit there and look pretty. So we're gonna grab both of these because I love the blues and the whites on this. Very nice. I think this is just to hold toothbrushes, but I liked the roses on it. It looked like Valentine's Day. I do think the store tries to keep certain items together, so I can always appreciate that too. This is a nice little box. I'm always on the hunt for other ways to organize my jewelry myself. This is a cute little wood handmade piece too. Another tissue box. I like the butterfly on it. $1.99. Not bad. I like this napkin holder with the geese. This pattern does really well for me. I bought a couple of canisters and some jars, and they always sell pretty quickly. So we're going to grab that piece. And I really like this bowl. It ended up just being from the Threshold Target brand, but I love like the look of it. Here I have it styled in my booth, just layered with some other pieces. I love the neutral colors. It'll go with a lot of different styles. This was a really pretty dish too. I love this color. I don't know why I didn't get that. Looking back, I'm like, why? What was I thinking? And this caught my eye, but realized it was just a newer, modern piece. You can definitely tell crystal when you see it. Look how sparkly that is. I like the mix of the matte finish, or the frosted finish rather. That one's really pretty too with the tulips. And this was just a piece that was made to look old, but it was nice and heavy. $3.99 for that. I liked the shelf in the back, but these I have found are really hard to clean. And that one looked like it would need a good cleaning, and I'm not sure I'd be able to do the job right. Now, I really like this. I ended up buying this for myself. I have it here on my mantle, and I'm so glad I got it. It's so beautiful and exactly what I needed. You can never skip the frames. This one was really pretty. I wish it wasn't $4.99 though. I have been taking beautiful frames with some nice vintage fabric and then putting a brooch, like framing the brooch and selling those in my vendor booth, and I have already sold 3 or 4 of those. And the brooches are ones that I have gotten with a big lot of vintage jewelry, costume jewelry. I just think they're really lovely and a great way to make them into little pieces of art, especially if you don't find yourself wearing those. I tend to have one that I love that I wear a lot on like a on a jacket. Here's how I have this little piece styled in my booth too. I think it's fine just by itself. A really pretty frame. So here is my cart from this Goodwill location. I thought we did pretty well here. So let's head on back into Myrtle Beach. This is the one in Surfside on Loyola Drive. Again, I'll put all of the addresses in the description box if you want to do my route. This definitely took me most of the afternoon, but I was back in time to get my boys from school. So I think I left my house about 8:30 and I was back in town before 2. So let's grab a cart and see what we can find here. This is probably one of my favorite locations. First of all, it's a huge store, so lots of move around, and it's always packed with home decor. I really like this frame. It did say St. Lucia on it, which I've actually been to St. Lucia. I went on a mission trip there when I was 18. But I'm gonna leave that behind and head into the home decor. It starts with the Christmas section, but look how packed the shelves are. Nice long stretch of shelving too. I love it. I'm not in the market for a lot more Christmas items. I have quite a bit priced, ready to go into my booth when the time comes. This blue caught my attention, but you always want to check the bottom because if it's clear like that, it's just painted. It's not true blue glass, so you can just move on. If you still like it, you just have to be careful with washing it or scratching it. And it's not usually worth a whole lot. I thought this was cool. I believe it's just a candle holder, but I love the frosted glass. It was $3.99, so I did end up getting this. I haven't put it in my booth yet. I might end up keeping it myself. I just think it's a really cool and unique shape. There's one thing that I will never buy new again, and that is candle holders. I can come across so many candle holders pretty much every trip I go to Goodwill or a thrift store. So if you're ever in the market for candle holders, you can just go to Goodwill and source some. I think someone tried to do a decoupage project on that with some blue and white. Maybe they didn't like it after they finished it. I thought it looked pretty good. I can always find a use for a mirror, whether I hang it or use it as a tray. I thought this one was really pretty. I think it was Sirocco because it was really lightweight and plastic. So I'm gonna grab that. This one's really pretty. Maybe that's just a candle holder. I'm not sure, maybe it went to something. I'm gonna skip over the toy section, and I found this really cool. It kind of looked like hammered copper, and it was $3.99. I liked the look of that. And then there were some pottery pieces, an ice chest. Not seeing a lot here. I will say this store is not as organized. There's no like items together except maybe just the Christmas area and the toy area. That was only $1. I don't know why I didn't grab that. This would be pretty for a bathroom. Look how pretty the butterflies and the flowers are on that. Cute little trinket dish, but it had some missing pieces. So we'll leave that behind. So kind of striking out at this store. I only got these 2 items, but sometimes that's just how it is. So let's head to the next Goodwill. This is in the Carolina Forest. This is in the area that I live, so I consider this my Goodwill. And this one I can usually find some good items. I really like this pattern. This is really pretty. Stoneware made in Japan. My mom had that white pattern. I thought these ones were really pretty with the flowers. And then the next glass piece was the shape of an apple. I have a lot of apple things still in my booth, so I left that behind just because I have so much and don't need to replenish it right now. Here's the matching like gravy boat, casserole dish. And then look at this beautiful cup and saucer. It has been a minute since I have come across a cup and saucer at Goodwill. This one was only 99 cents too, and look at the beautiful pattern. I love that color purple, so we're definitely getting that one. And then they do keep like the holiday, Easter items, Christmas items together here. There's a Mikasa dish. I think I already own that one. A little elephant there. This box was so pretty, only $1. I'm gonna show how I displayed it in my booth area. Look at the little bow on that too. Here it is here. I just use it to prop up a little decorative plant. I was pretty excited about that purchase. It's sometimes just the little things that make you happy and smile. There was definitely a line of shoppers and they were not moving, so I kind of had to wind around. I'm glad I found this beautiful piece. This is Lenox. It was $1.99. Look at that beautiful like pearlescent pink. I love that. I had to leave my cart way up here because nobody was moving, and then there I was standing here waiting for this cart to do their shopping, and I spotted this like grab bag that I wanted to get. I ended up just being patient and waiting my turn, and I did end up getting it. I don't know exactly what all of these are for, but inside the boxes were these beautiful hand-painted eggs. So I'm gonna be really excited for those like come Easter time. You can kind of see that's how the other ones look, like that pink one. They're hand-painted, delicate, beautiful colors. So I'm glad I ended up getting this and waiting for it. It was worth it. So far, here's my cart. This is what I ended up getting here. Very happy with my purchases, especially that little box. And then I'm gonna take you into my new Style by Candy Thrift booth. This is how it looks so far. Still got a long way to go. Thank you guys for coming along.